Have you ever woken up in the morning, looked in the mirror, and wondered why your energy feels drained even before the day begins? Why your body, once strong and full of life, now feels slower, weaker, less responsive? Why your mornings start with fatigue instead of drive, and your nights end in frustration instead of satisfaction? Have you noticed how something as simple as your morning routine, something you've done for years without thinking twice, could be silently sabotaging your health, your confidence, and your manhood? Most men never see it coming. They think the problem is age, stress, or hormones. But what if the real cause was something you do every single morning before breakfast? Something so ordinary, so harmless looking, that you would never suspect it's quietly triggering a chain of reactions inside your body that inflame your prostate, restrict your blood flow, and slowly erode your ability to perform? Today, you'll discover what that hidden morning habit is and why it's directly linked to erectile failure, low energy, and swelling in the prostate gland. This is not about pills, supplements, or strange cures. It's about a pattern that millions of men repeat each morning without realizing it's one of the main reasons their sexual performance, confidence, and health decline with time. By the end of this story, you'll understand exactly what's happening inside your body, what triggers this damaging process, and how to reverse it naturally by making one simple change that science shows can dramatically improve your circulation, reduce inflammation, and restore vitality where it matters most. But before we get there, I want to know something. Where are you watching this from? Write in the comments below which city you're in right now, because I'm curious to see how many men around the world will relate to what you're about to hear. Now think about this. The human body is built to recover every night. When we sleep, our hormones balance, our blood pressure drops, and our cells repair. But the moment you wake up, your body faces its first decision of the day: how to start your internal engine. And this is where most men unknowingly go wrong. What you do in the first hour after waking up decides whether your blood vessels open or tighten, whether your hormones stabilize or crash, and whether your prostate stays calm or becomes irritated. Yet, most people have no idea that one specific habit, something nearly everyone does automatically each morning, is the spark that keeps inflammation burning deep inside their pelvic region, choking the blood flow to the area that gives life to strong, lasting erections. To understand this, imagine your circulatory system as a complex network of rivers carrying oxygen and nutrients. For these rivers to flow freely, the inner walls must stay smooth and flexible. But the moment inflammation begins, those walls become sticky, thick, and stiff. Blood moves slower, pressure rises, and certain areas, like the tiny arteries that feed the prostate and the delicate chambers inside the penis, start losing their full supply. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow, silent process. You might not notice it until you start feeling mild discomfort when sitting, a heavier feeling in the lower abdomen, or those frustrating moments when desire is there but the body doesn't respond as it used to. You might think it's just age, but it's not. It's inflammation slowly fueled by something you do every morning. And here's the shocking truth. Your prostate is one of the most sensitive organs to inflammation. When the tiny ducts inside it get irritated, they swell. When they swell, they press against surrounding nerves and vessels. This not only makes you feel discomfort, but also interferes with the reflexes that control blood flow to your reproductive system. The result? Erections become weaker, less frequent, and more difficult to maintain. Yet, the root cause often starts much earlier than most people think. It begins with what you put into your body the moment you wake up. Now let's take a look at how mornings set the tone for your entire hormonal rhythm. When the sun rises, your body releases cortisol, the natural wake-up hormone that helps you feel alert. This is normal, but the problem begins when that hormone is overstimulated. Many men, without realizing it, start their mornings with habits that spike cortisol to unnatural levels. That surge triggers inflammation, constricts arteries, and drains the balance between testosterone and stress hormones. When cortisol dominates, testosterone plummets, and when testosterone stays low for long periods, it becomes harder for the body to regulate blood flow, rebuild muscle, and protect the prostate from swelling. The most common trigger for this destructive cycle hides in plain sight. It's not smoking, not alcohol, and not lack of sleep, though all of those can make it worse. The real trigger is a combination of what you consume first thing in the morning and what it does to your body's delicate internal chemistry. That first choice, what you eat or drink before anything else, can decide whether your body starts the day in a state of healing or in a state of inflammation. And when inflammation takes over, the prostate is one of the first organs to suffer. Think about your morning routine for a moment. You wake up, maybe check your phone, and go straight to the kitchen. You grab your usual breakfast item or beverage, something you've probably been told is healthy or energizing. You've done it for years, but each time you do, your body reacts with a chemical storm that begins in your bloodstream and ends in your reproductive system. Scientists have now shown that certain common breakfast items, especially one that almost everyone consumes daily, trigger a spike in insulin, cortisol, and inflammatory molecules. These signals travel directly to the blood vessels that supply your prostate and sexual organs, causing them to constrict. Over time, the tissues become less responsive, and the cells responsible for producing healthy fluid and maintaining proper blood flow start to weaken. And the worst part? You don't even feel it happening. It's not like pain or an immediate reaction. It's slow, creeping damage that builds up day after day, year after year, until suddenly, your body starts sending you warning signs. You wake up more tired, your mornings lack energy. You feel a dull ache or heaviness in the lower back. Your urine stream weakens, or your erections become inconsistent. Most men ignore these signs, hoping they'll fix themselves. But the truth is, once inflammation starts feeding on itself, it doesn't stop unless you interrupt it at the source. This is why so many men try medications, supplements, or exercises without lasting success. They're treating the symptoms instead of the cause. You can take all the pills in the world, but if every morning you restart the same inflammatory process, you're pouring gasoline on a fire you're trying to put out. What makes this even more alarming is how common this habit is. Doctors and nutritionists have warned about it for years, but the message gets lost in marketing and myths about what's healthy. In reality, what you think is giving you energy each morning might be the very thing robbing your body of vitality. To truly grasp what's happening, we have to look inside your body at the microscopic level. The prostate is surrounded by tiny blood vessels and nerves that respond instantly to changes in your metabolism. When you eat or drink something that spikes your blood sugar, your body releases insulin to control it. Insulin in small amounts is necessary, but when it's triggered too strongly, it sets off a cascade that increases inflammation markers throughout your body. Those inflammatory molecules, known as cytokines, move freely through your blood and eventually reach the prostate. Once they enter that region, they make the small tissues inside swell and become congested. This pressure restricts normal fluid movement and compresses surrounding vessels. At the same time, nitric oxide, the molecule responsible for dilating blood vessels and creating strong erections, gets suppressed. Without enough nitric oxide, blood flow to the penile tissue weakens, making it difficult to achieve or maintain a firm erection. But this goes even deeper, because the same process that affects your prostate also impacts your heart, brain, and metabolism. The body works as a single network, and when inflammation becomes chronic, it doesn't stay in one place. So, while you might think your problem is isolated to your reproductive organs, it's actually part of a much bigger system failure that starts every morning with one small, seemingly innocent choice. This is why so many men feel like they're falling apart even though they eat normally and follow what they think are healthy habits. There's also a psychological side to this problem that few talk about. When a man starts noticing changes in his performance, even small ones, it begins to affect his confidence. He starts worrying, doubting, avoiding intimacy. Stress increases, cortisol rises even more, and the inflammation loop gets stronger. The body doesn't separate emotional and physical stress. They both activate the same hormonal pathways. This is why breaking the cycle requires addressing not just what you eat, but how you start your day mentally and physically. The way you wake up, breathe, and move in those first moments sets the tone for your entire internal chemistry. Now let's go back to the habit itself. What if the very drink you believe helps you wake up and feel alert is actually draining your energy from within? What if it's tightening your blood vessels, raising your stress hormones, and dehydrating your body before the day even starts? You see, most men begin their mornings with something hot and stimulating. They rely on it to shake off sleepiness, boost focus, and feel ready for work. It's a ritual passed down through generations, part of culture and comfort. But inside your body, this ritual sends a very different signal. It tells your nervous system to activate fight or flight mode. Your heart rate increases, your arteries constrict, and your blood pressure rises. The body thinks it's under stress. Over time, this morning's stress response doesn't just tire your heart, it damages the blood vessels that feed your reproductive organs, slowly leading to erectile dysfunction and prostate irritation. And here's where most people get it wrong. They think that as long as they avoid excess or drink it in moderation, they're safe. But for many men, even small amounts every day, especially on an empty stomach, can create a slow, constant inflammation that never fully goes away. Studies have shown that this habit alters the natural balance between stress and sex hormones, lowers nitric oxide production, and increases dehydration at the cellular level, all of which contribute to poor circulation and reduced sexual function. So, if you've ever wondered why you feel exhausted by mid-morning, why your libido has faded, or why your prostate feels swollen or irritated, the answer might be sitting right there in your morning cup. It's the habit that millions of men believe is harmless, but science is now revealing as one of the hidden culprits behind hormonal imbalance, vascular stiffness, and prostate inflammation. And what's truly fascinating is that once you remove or replace this habit, your body can start healing almost immediately. The blood vessels begin to relax again, the prostate can shrink back to a healthy size, and the natural balance of testosterone returns to normal levels. But before revealing exactly what that habit is and how to replace it with a healthier alternative that can restore your circulation, balance your hormones, and protect your prostate, it's important to understand how deeply this morning ritual shapes the rest of your day, and how every sip or bite can either help or harm you from the inside out. Because what happens next explains why millions of men struggle with the same problem, and how simply changing one morning behavior could mean the difference between constant frustration and lasting vitality. Most men wake up and think that the hardest part of the morning is dragging themselves out of bed. But what if the real struggle begins after that, when they reach for the same drink that millions of people around the world depend on to start their day? It's almost automatic. The aroma fills the kitchen, the warmth feels comforting, and for a moment, it feels like energy and life are returning. Yet, deep inside, the body is already entering a state of alert, flooding the bloodstream with stress hormones, tightening arteries, and dehydrating tissues. This drink, the one that gives the illusion of vitality, is one of the main silent triggers of prostate inflammation, erectile problems, and hormonal decline. And yes, that drink is coffee, especially when consumed on an empty stomach, right after waking up. Now, before anyone panics, it's important to understand that coffee itself isn't evil. The real danger lies in how and when it's consumed, and what it does to your body's chemistry before it's ready to handle such stimulation. When you wake up, your cortisol levels are already at their peak. Cortisol is a stress hormone that naturally rises in the morning to help you feel alert. It's part of your body's built-in rhythm. But when you immediately drink coffee, caffeine amplifies that natural surge, sending cortisol skyrocketing far beyond healthy levels. This sudden spike confuses your body, forcing it into what scientists call a fight or flight response. Your blood pressure rises, your heart beats faster, and your blood vessels constrict, especially the small ones that supply oxygen to your prostate and sexual organs. Now imagine doing this every single day, for years. That repeated constriction starves your tissues of blood, making them less elastic, more inflamed, and more prone to dysfunction. The prostate, being an organ rich in blood vessels and nerves, suffers the most. It becomes irritated, swollen, and congested. Over time, that chronic irritation can cause discomfort, difficulty urinating, and sexual fatigue. But it doesn't stop there. When blood flow to the penis is restricted, the smooth muscles inside begin to weaken. The body struggles to trap blood effectively, leading to softer erections and reduced stamina. You might still feel desire, but your body can't physically respond the same way. Caffeine also interferes with your hormones in ways most people don't realize. It temporarily increases adrenaline, which feels energizing at first, but leaves you drained afterward. This adrenaline rush reduces the production of nitric oxide, the molecule responsible for expanding blood vessels and sustaining strong erections. At the same time, caffeine can lower the sensitivity of testosterone receptors. This means even if your testosterone levels are normal, your body might not be able to use that hormone efficiently. Over time, this creates a subtle but damaging imbalance. Stress hormones rise, while sex hormones lose their influence. The result? Fatigue, loss of libido, anxiety, and erectile issues, all from a morning habit that feels harmless. But the problem gets worse when coffee is consumed on an empty stomach. In that state, your stomach acid levels spike dramatically. Caffeine stimulates the release of hydrochloric acid, which helps digest food. But when there's no food to digest, the acid attacks the stomach lining. This irritation causes systemic inflammation that doesn't stay in one place. Those inflammatory molecules circulate through the bloodstream, affecting organs far from the stomach, including the prostate. Over time, this chronic low-level inflammation becomes one of the most overlooked causes of prostate swelling and pelvic discomfort. The more acidic and irritated your system becomes, the more your body tries to fight it with immune responses that only add more inflammation. There's also a hidden link between dehydration and erectile problems. Caffeine is a diuretic, meaning it forces your kidneys to excrete water and electrolytes faster than usual. This might not seem serious, but even mild dehydration thickens your blood, reduces oxygen delivery, and makes it harder for blood vessels to expand properly. When blood becomes too viscous, it struggles to reach delicate tissues like the penile chambers or the prostate capillaries. As a result, these areas receive less oxygen and nutrients. Over time, this can cause cell damage, slower recovery, and reduced function. That's why men who rely heavily on coffee often notice they feel tired, anxious, or wired but weak. It's their body signaling dehydration and hormonal imbalance. Now, here's where it becomes even more interesting. When the body experiences this daily morning stress, it adapts by changing how it produces and uses hormones. The adrenal glands, responsible for releasing cortisol and adrenaline, start to work overtime. Eventually, they become fatigued, leading to what experts call adrenal dysregulation. This condition disrupts the natural rhythm of cortisol release, leaving you feeling tired in the morning and restless at night. When cortisol stays high for too long, it suppresses testosterone, the key hormone that protects the prostate, supports libido, and maintains strong erections. Low testosterone also slows metabolism, increases body fat, and triggers more inflammation, a vicious cycle that begins anew each morning with that first sip of coffee. But it's not just coffee itself. Many people make it worse by adding sugar, creamers, or artificial sweeteners. These additions trigger insulin spikes, further amplifying inflammation. Sugar, in particular, damages the endothelium, the inner lining of blood vessels. When this lining becomes compromised, it can no longer produce nitric oxide effectively. Without enough nitric oxide, blood vessels remain constricted, blood flow weakens, and erectile function declines. This is why men who consume sweetened coffee drinks often experience faster deterioration in performance and energy compared to those who drink it plain. You might be wondering, if this habit is so harmful, why do so many people feel more awake and energetic after coffee? The truth is, caffeine doesn't create energy. It borrows it. It blocks adenosine, a molecule that signals fatigue. By blocking it, you feel temporarily alert, but the energy isn't real. It's just your brain being tricked into ignoring tiredness. Once the caffeine wears off, adenosine floods back in, and you feel even more exhausted than before. This roller coaster puts your body through unnecessary stress, weakening your hormonal and vascular systems over time. That's why people who drink multiple cups per day often find themselves needing more and more to feel the same effect. Their natural energy production becomes dependent on an external stimulant, while their internal balance continues to deteriorate. This constant dependency also affects your mood. When caffeine levels drop, your brain experiences a rebound effect, anxiety, irritability, and even mild depression. These emotional fluctuations raise cortisol and disrupt sleep, which in turn lowers testosterone even further. The next morning, you feel sluggish again, so you reach for another cup and the cycle repeats. Meanwhile, the prostate remains inflamed, blood vessels stay constricted, and erectile tissues become less responsive. But here's the hopeful part. The human body is incredibly resilient. Once you identify and remove the trigger, healing can begin rapidly. Within days of reducing or timing your caffeine intake properly, cortisol levels start to stabilize, nitric oxide production improves, and inflammation decreases. Blood flow becomes more efficient, and many men notice improvements in energy, mood, and sexual performance in as little as a week. The key isn't necessarily to eliminate coffee completely, but to understand how to consume it in a way that doesn't damage your hormonal and vascular systems. One of the most effective ways to reduce this harm is by delaying your first cup of coffee by at least 90 minutes after waking. This gives your natural cortisol rhythm time to stabilize before introducing caffeine. Another powerful strategy is to eat a small, balanced meal before drinking coffee, something with protein and healthy fats, which slows down caffeine absorption and prevents insulin spikes. And of course, staying hydrated is crucial. Drinking a large glass of water first thing in the morning, ideally with a pinch of electrolytes or a squeeze of lemon, helps neutralize acidity and prepare your body for the day. However, for men already struggling with prostate irritation or erectile difficulties, even small caffeine doses can still be harmful. In those cases, switching to alternatives that support blood flow and hormonal balance can make a huge difference. Certain herbal teas, for instance, help relax blood vessels and reduce inflammation without overstimulating the adrenal system. Others contain antioxidants that specifically protect prostate tissue. Some men have also found that replacing their morning coffee with a natural nitric oxide booster, like beetroot powder, pomegranate juice, or green tea, provides sustained energy without the crash, while directly supporting circulation and sexual function. At this point, it's not about giving up something you enjoy. It's about reclaiming your control over your body. You deserve to wake up feeling strong, clear, and confident, not dependent on a substance that drains your natural vitality. Once you understand how this habit affects your physiology, you begin to see the chain reaction behind every symptom: the morning cortisol spike, the restricted blood flow, the inflammation, the hormonal imbalance, and ultimately, the loss of function. Each piece connects perfectly once you look closely. Yet there's one more hidden element in this story that makes the morning coffee habit even more dangerous for men, and it's something almost no one talks about. It's not just the caffeine itself or the sugar you might add to it. It's what happens when coffee interacts with the modern lifestyle: lack of sleep, high stress, poor diet, and sitting for long hours. These factors magnify coffee's negative effects. When you combine them, you create the perfect storm for prostate inflammation and erectile dysfunction. The body never has a chance to rest or recover. It stays locked in fight or flight mode around the clock, slowly breaking down its own defenses. And that's where the true root of this issue lies, not in coffee alone, but in how it compounds other everyday habits. The modern man is overworked, underrested, and overstimulated. He wakes up tired, reaches for caffeine, skips breakfast, sits all day, eats fast food, and sleeps late. Each of these steps adds another layer of stress to his system. By the time he starts noticing prostate discomfort or sexual decline, the damage has already been building for years. But the moment he changes how he starts his mornings, hydration first, food before caffeine, a short walk or stretch to activate circulation, his body begins to shift from survival mode to healing mode. Still, there's something even more critical to understand before we get to the full solution. You see, not all inflammation in the prostate or erectile system comes from external sources. Part of it comes from within, from how your body metabolizes stress and handles toxins. When your liver and kidneys are overworked, often from caffeine and dehydration, they struggle to filter out waste effectively. This buildup of metabolic byproducts adds another layer of internal irritation that keeps your prostate swollen and your erections weak. So, the next step in solving this problem isn't just removing coffee. It's about restoring the systems that coffee has been overloading for years. Because once you strengthen those systems, you unlock your body's ability to heal itself naturally, without relying on external stimulation. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. the biological mechanism that allows men to reverse this cycle completely by supporting their body's natural detoxification and blood flow. It's the key that transforms your mornings from a source of stress into a source of strength. And it's how countless men have restored their vitality simply by changing one deeply ingrained routine. Now that the hidden danger behind that morning cup is clear, it's time to understand how to reverse the damage, restore your vitality, and protect your prostate and sexual health for good. The good news is that the body is remarkably forgiving. It doesn't hold grudges. It responds. When you stop feeding inflammation and start supporting circulation, balance, and hormone stability, the results can be life-changing. And this transformation begins not with a pill or a supplement, but with a few simple, science-backed adjustments that repair what years of overstimulation and dehydration have weakened. The first step is hydration. When you wake up, your body is in a state of mild dehydration after several hours of sleep. During the night, your body loses water through breathing and sweating. That means your blood is thicker and your organs are thirstier. The prostate, being a gland made mostly of fluid, is especially sensitive to dehydration. When it doesn't get enough water, its internal tissues become congested, leading to discomfort and swelling. On top of that, blood flow to the sexual organs weakens because thicker blood moves slower. That's why the first and most powerful act of the morning should be to replenish what was lost, before anything else. A large glass of water, ideally lukewarm and with a pinch of natural salt or a squeeze of lemon, helps balance your electrolytes, wake up your metabolism, and prepare your circulatory system for the day. Within minutes, your blood becomes more fluid, your vessels open slightly, and your energy starts rising naturally, without any caffeine. The second step is movement. The worst thing a man can do for his prostate and erectile health is to remain still for long periods, especially in the morning. Sitting down too early after waking slows down blood flow to the pelvic region and increases pressure in that area, which aggravates swelling. Gentle movement, like a short walk, stretching, or even a few minutes of deep breathing, activates circulation, stimulates lymphatic drainage, and signals your body that the day has begun. This simple act reduces pelvic congestion, oxygenates your tissues, and primes your body for better hormonal balance. When you combine hydration with early movement, you're already giving your body the foundation it needs to prevent inflammation and keep your reproductive organs functioning properly. But the third step is where most of the healing begins, replacing the destructive habit with a restorative one. Instead of rushing to your coffee machine, start your mornings with a natural circulation booster that energizes your body without draining it. One of the most powerful choices is beetroot-based drinks. Beetroot is rich in natural nitrates that convert into nitric oxide inside your body. Nitric oxide is the same molecule your blood vessels produce when you're relaxed and aroused. It dilates your arteries, improves blood flow, and supports strong, lasting erections. By drinking beet juice or mixing a teaspoon of beetroot powder in water or a smoothie, you can give your body a natural, caffeine-free surge of oxygen and vitality. Over time, this habit helps repair the endothelial lining of your arteries, including those in the pelvic region, restoring flexibility and proper circulation. Another excellent alternative is green tea. Unlike coffee, green tea contains a gentle form of caffeine that doesn't overstimulate cortisol. It also contains an amino acid called L-theanine, which promotes calm focus and balances mood. This combination helps you stay alert without triggering the fight-or-flight response that tightens your blood vessels. Green tea is also rich in antioxidants called catechins, which protect your prostate cells from oxidative damage and reduce inflammation throughout your body. Studies show that men who drink green tea regularly have better urinary function, less prostate enlargement, and higher nitric oxide levels compared to those who rely on coffee. The next crucial part of recovery is nutrition. What you eat in the first half of the day directly affects your hormones and prostate. Instead of sugary pastries, processed cereals, or refined carbohydrates, focus on foods that lower inflammation and support testosterone production. Whole eggs, avocado, nuts, and berries are perfect morning allies. Eggs provide choline and cholesterol, which are essential building blocks for testosterone. Avocados are rich in healthy fats that reduce inflammation and stabilize hormones. Nuts, especially Brazil nuts and walnuts, supply selenium and omega-3s that help protect prostate tissue. And berries, loaded with antioxidants, protect the delicate cells of your blood vessels from damage. When you start your day with these foods, you're telling your body to produce energy steadily, without spikes or crashes. As your morning continues, the focus should be on maintaining balance. Replace your second or third coffee with herbal infusions that calm your system. Nettle root tea, for instance, is well known for supporting prostate health and reducing urinary inflammation. Ginger tea improves blood flow and digestion while lowering systemic inflammation. And pomegranate juice, in small amounts, has been shown to significantly improve erection quality because it increases nitric oxide and protects against oxidative stress. By introducing these simple beverages, you're not just avoiding harm, you're actively restoring your body's natural rhythm. But even as you change your morning habits, it's important to address the underlying reasons so many men become dependent on coffee in the first place: exhaustion. Modern life drains energy from every angle. Lack of sleep, constant stress, screens, deadlines, and poor nutrition all contribute to burnout. When your body is tired, it craves stimulation, not rest. That's why coffee feels so appealing. It's a shortcut to feeling awake. The problem is, shortcuts always come at a cost. Caffeine doesn't give energy. It borrows it from tomorrow. The only real solution is to rebuild natural energy from within. And that requires deep rest, balanced nutrition, and consistent hydration. Sleep, in particular, plays a vital role. During sleep, testosterone is produced, the prostate repairs, and nitric oxide levels reset. Skipping quality rest means robbing your body of its natural recovery time. To optimize sleep, aim for at least 7 hours, avoid caffeine after midday, and reduce screen exposure at night. When your sleep improves, your body naturally begins producing more testosterone and regulating cortisol, setting off a cascade of healing effects throughout your body, including stronger, longer-lasting erections and a calmer, healthier prostate. At this point, the chain of cause and effect becomes clear. Caffeine and dehydration trigger cortisol. Cortisol suppresses testosterone. Low testosterone weakens circulation. Poor circulation inflames the prostate. And inflammation further reduces blood flow. It's a closed loop of decline that begins each morning with that first cup. But when you break that loop, by hydrating, moving, eating right, and using natural alternatives, you flip the system from breakdown to repair. Within a few weeks, most men notice lighter mornings, clearer focus, more energy, and a revived sense of vitality. After a month, prostate pressure starts to decrease, urinary flow improves, and sexual confidence returns. These aren't miracles. They're simply the body's natural response once you stop attacking it from within. Now, let's go a bit deeper into the biology of why this recovery happens so quickly once you change habits. When cortisol decreases, the body restores sensitivity to testosterone. Testosterone begins activating receptors in muscle tissue and reproductive organs again, stimulating repair and growth. This also triggers increased production of nitric oxide, which reopens blood vessels that had been chronically constricted. As blood flow improves, oxygen delivery rises, and the prostate receives the nutrients it needs to reduce swelling. The same improved circulation benefits erectile tissue, which starts responding more strongly and consistently. Essentially, by removing the source of stress and replenishing what's been lost, you're reawakening your body's natural systems that were always meant to work effortlessly together. Some men notice their morning erections returning as a first sign of healing. This is not only physical, it's symbolic. It's the body saying, "I'm functioning again." Others experience better mental clarity and fewer mood swings. That's because stable cortisol levels mean the brain no longer operates in constant survival mode. You think clearer, focus longer, and feel calmer. Even digestion improves because the body shifts from stress response to repair response. Every system benefits from this single change. Of course, this isn't about demonizing coffee forever. It's about understanding balance. Once your body has recovered and inflammation subsides, you may be able to enjoy coffee again in moderation, after breakfast, properly hydrated, and never on an empty stomach. At that point, caffeine becomes a tool, not a crutch. But for now, the goal is to let your body reset, rebuild, and remember what real energy feels like without artificial stimulation. Because when you do, your mornings will no longer depend on caffeine. They'll run on the natural power your body was designed to create on its own. Now, let's summarize everything into a simple, actionable plan, a blueprint that any man can follow starting tomorrow morning. Hydrate immediately upon waking. Drink a large glass of water with a pinch of sea salt or a squeeze of lemon. This rehydrates, alkalizes, and jumpstarts circulation. Move your body. Do 5 to 10 minutes of light stretching, breathing, or walking to activate blood flow and relieve pelvic pressure. Eat before caffeine. Have a small meal with protein and healthy fats before consuming anything stimulating. Delay your first coffee. Wait at least 90 minutes after waking before your first sip, or replace it with beet juice, green tea, or another natural energizer. Avoid added sugars and processed creamers. These destroy your vascular health and feed inflammation. Protect your sleep. Go to bed at a consistent time. Avoid screens late at night, and let your body recharge fully. Listen to your body. If you still feel tired, it's not because you need caffeine, it's because your body is asking for recovery. Follow these steps consistently for just 2 weeks, and you'll likely feel the first signs of renewal. Lighter mornings, fewer urges for caffeine, improved focus, stronger libido, and calmer prostate sensations. After a month, most men report more stable energy, firmer erections, better urinary flow, and a deep sense of regained vitality. The truth is, your body has never been broken. It's simply been reacting to years of small, unnoticed stressors. That morning habit, so ordinary, so ingrained, was the first domino. But now that you understand how it works, you also hold the power to reverse it. When you change how you begin your day, you change everything that follows. Every drop of blood that flows through your body becomes cleaner, stronger, and freer. Your prostate breathes again, your confidence returns, and each morning, instead of waking up dependent on caffeine, you wake up charged by your own natural strength. So tomorrow, before reaching for that cup, pause, take a breath, drink your water, move a little, choose nourishment over stimulation. Because the difference between decline and renewal often begins with one simple decision made in the quiet of the morning. You have the power to choose vitality, and when you do, your body will thank you, not just with energy, but with health, confidence, and the kind of strength that lasts a lifetime.